Does anyone remember that time when Ben Affleck played Batman in 2003? I know a lot of people didn't like this film when it first came out, but honestly, I kind of like it. Ben Affleck is not that bad in the role. His suit, while being black leather, works. And honestly, he can capture the character's duality of being a sad loner while also being the billionaire playboy very well. Probably why years later they'll cast him as Iron Man in the DC Extended Universe. And speaking of, it's really weird that no one ever brings up the fact that Jon Favreau plays Jim Gordon in this movie and then later reprises his role in the DC Cinematic Universe. And yes, this scene with the fire on the ground forming the logo is a direct reference to The Crow. Them changing some details like Thomas Wayne being a secret enforcer for Tony Zuko is different, but not bad. Jennifer Garner is fine in other ways as Catwoman, but less said about her solo movie the better. This film has a great soundtrack, and yes, this is the film that introduced most people to Paramore's Bring Me to Life. Colin Farrell as Deadshot is having the absolute time of his life. He is so silly and over the top, which in some ways does work for the character. And just like Affleck, in 20 years he got to come back to comics to play Kingpin in The Daredevil. Speaking of, the ever great Michael Clark Duncan as Tobias Whale is absolute peak casting, and I honestly feel like this is probably my favorite take on the character. Especially if you see the director's cut of this film, that's like a universe better. Because it doesn't trim out a lot of the actually really important stuff, such as the court stuff with Eel O'Brien, and Bruce has to do all of his detective work to find out that Tobias Whale is involved and Eel isn't, which ultimately leads to his ultimate downfall and arrest. Showing that even a simple act of kindness can ultimately take down evil. Well, yeah, definitely, this film did try cashing in on the popularity of Tobey Maguire's Flash in the original Teen Titans films. But if you look behind the scenes, you can tell that this film was made by fans who genuinely did try, and the studio, like always, tried cutting it down, and if you just watch the director's cut, this film is way better. But let me know your guys' opinions about the 2003 Batman film, as well as hitting that like button and the subscribe button if you're new.